Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scared204 here, and welcome back to another video on our model world. We have another update that is available for download. The download for this world can be found in the video description. If you're completely new to these videos, or really kind of new to my channel in general, my model world is where I put all my models. So anything that you see as a tutorial on the channel, or anything that you've seen kind of in the background or whatever, is all done on this world here. And it is available for download completely for free on my Mediafire. There again is a link for free in the video description. You can go and download it and all that stuff. One thing I do want to go ahead and harp on real quick is that if you do plan on using any of the designs on this world, regardless of tutorial status, I do ask that you guys give me proper credit for them. Again, that could be anything from a sign on the build, link to my channel, or whatever. Just if you post them online, just make sure I get credit. That's all I ask for putting this world out for free and all that stuff. So if you want to continue to see free updates, definitely give credit and where credit is due for any of these designs. Now, going ahead and jumping into the fun stuff with that out of the way, we do have quite a lot to cover, and this is one of our largest world updates we've ever had. I would say even with the tutorial world, if some of you guys have been around that long. So we have a lot to cover, and honestly, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So our first little bit here is actually going to be covering kind of more of our miscellaneous vehicles, not our main kind of tutorial lines here, but we have basically some new additions for a new construction line of vehicles that I've actually built, and really like the way they came out with, and also the addition of the ATST in the Star Wars lineup. But kind of going over real quick the construction vehicles. We have a drilling rig, so basically a giant drill rig designed to drill foundations and holes and all that stuff in the ground. Really cool looking build. Really happy the way it came out, and I definitely need to make like an excavator or something based off this this design. But again, very happy with it. I think it's a really cool build. We next have a redesign for the Bobcat. Some of you guys that may have been around the channel for quite some time remember the old Bobcat design, so that is pretty cool as well. We then have a grader, which is pretty cool. Always liked this type of vehicle as a kid, so nice to see it finally in Minecraft. We then have the front end loader, which actually is out as a tutorial, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it is a tutorial on the channel and one of the recent ones at the time of this video coming out. So if you are interested in that, definitely look at it. We then have a dozer, so a bulldozer here, just kind of a smaller one, but pretty nice nonetheless. We then have a backhoe, so again, really cool looking build, and then a kind of, I guess you can say, redesign of the mini excavator compared to the last tutorial I did quite a while ago for it. But these will all be coming out over time as tutorials. They will probably come out pretty staggered, so I wouldn't expect them all like real soon. But again, I'm going to be slowly adding to our construction lineup of vehicles and all that stuff and expanding upon it. Then for our Star Wars section right behind it, we do have the ATST. This is out as a tutorial as well, so I will not harp on it too much. But yeah, it is out as a tutorial. Really love this model. I think it came out really good and is one of the most detailed ATSTs I've seen really in Minecraft. And again, these two sections here, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with them in terms of putting them in plots. Hopefully that's something I'll have sorted out in the next Model World video, but as of right now, they're just to the right of spawn and just kind of sitting here open for everybody to see. And also, since a few of you did express some interest in the world, in some of the vehicles I built actually in chat, using ChatGPT, if you haven't watched those videos, I definitely recommend checking them out. But basically, these are kind of like our Frankenstein vehicles that were done in those two videos that I did, so I just kind of threw them over here in the Boneyard section of our vehicle world. Really, I don't know where to put them. They probably won't be ever tutorials, but you know, they are here on the world if you are interested in taking a closer look at them. And one of the last things we have for kind of our miscellaneous section here is going to be this patrol boat. This here is the Spavero class, but this is the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force version known as the PG-1-Go-class. So this here is basically a patrol boat, a hydrofloat boat, so it actually means it can, like, you know, operate pretty much out of water. It's pretty sick. It is in War Thunder, and this is based completely off that Japanese version in War Thunder itself. Pretty cool build, and one of our kind of more recent additions to the world. I don't know when or if it'll ever be a tutorial, but just something kind of fun that was built and paid for by one of my friends. So really cool looking build, and just something a little bit more unique on the model world here. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into our World War II ground vehicles. Now, our World War II ground vehicles here are probably one of the most least growth lines that we really have. kind of just in the past few episodes, or really just the past few updates, mainly because a lot of the focus has been toward modern vehicles, and that's kind of what's been requested a lot. And granted, I've built kind of a lot of World War II vehicles already. So anyways, we do have a lot of redos, and this was part of my big giant Sherman tutorial I did, so I'm not going to go into these in super detail. But we have the M4A3E8 Sherman, which is brand new, redone with a new Sherman design. And if we fly down our line quite a bit here, it's a little ways, we have all the rest of our Shermans. So all the way down here, and you can see we have our rest of our Shermans here. So we have the M4A1 Sherman, we have the M4 Sherman, we have the M4A2 Sherman, the M4A1 76W, the M4A2 76W, the M4A3 76W HVSS, then we have the M4A3, and a little bit further down, gotta skip a little bit of vehicles, we do have the M4A3 105 Sherman, followed by the M4A3E2 Jumbo, and lastly here we have the M4A3E2 76W Jumbo. So we have quite a few vehicles added in, or not really added, but kind of more redone in the American line. And again, all these Shermans that I just mentioned are up on the channel as a tutorial in my massive M4 Sherman tutorial. So definitely feel free to check that out if you're interested in building them. But yes, all those Shermans here are now on the world. Moving into our Modern Warfare / Cold War section, we have quite a few additions here to the American lineup. This here is going to be the M1 Abrams family. Again, these are all available as a tutorial in the M1 Abrams kind of plus variants massive tutorial that I did. But again, all these variants are tutorialed. So again, we're going to run through them real quick. We have the M1 Abrams, followed by the M1A2, the M1A1HC, then the M1A2, we have the M1A2 SEP Abrams, then the M1A2 SEP V2, and lastly the M1A2 SEP V3. So we have quite a few Shermans here, we have quite a few Abrams here, all of various stages of the production life of the M1 Abrams, from the very first production model all the way to the new kind of current one that they're rolling out to improve the service life of the Abrams. So really cool tutorial, and really cool to see all these Abrams. A lot of you guys really do like that, so really happy to provide this, and hopefully we'll again see kind of these massive tank tutorials where we just knock out a bunch of variants in one go. Anyways, though, that's it for our American section. Let's go ahead and take a look at Russia / the Soviet Union. In the Soviet Union / Russia lineup, we have the addition of the Ural 4320, which is our kind of first logistical supply truck for the Soviet Union / Russian military. Pretty cool build, again available as a tutorial on the channel, and all that. But yeah, that was the only addition in our normal size vehicles. We do have an actual oversized Soviet / Russian vehicle we're going to take a look at. So let's go ahead and jump over to that. In our oversized section, we have the addition of the RSD-10 Pioneer with the MAZ 547 chassis. So, or vehicle, I should say. So the RSD-10 is the missile, and the MAZ 547 is the vehicle. This is kind of one of our first ever kind of intercontinental ballistic missile kind of self-propelled vehicles, launchers. I think we did do one a while back, but it's been a very long time since we've done it, and I definitely want to explore doing more of these because they're really cool vehicles. They're just really sick. We have the transit version, and we also have the deployed version. Again, these are available as tutorials out on the channel, all under one tutorial for this system. So definitely feel free to check that out. Really cool, and hope to see more of these in the near future. That right there is going to wrap it up for all of our ground vehicles. Let's go ahead and move into our aircraft, which has seen probably the most additions. Moving into our World War II section, we did see a new aircraft added to our American line. This here is the F7F3 Tiger Cat. Pretty cool. Heavy fighter aircraft. It was kind of more of a later war aircraft, but a Navy version nonetheless. Really cool design. Really happy with the way it came out, and would be a cool build to see out in the channel sometime in the near future. But yeah, that's the only addition to our American line. Let's go ahead and move back to the Soviet Union. Moving back to our Soviet Union section, we have the addition of the PE-2, which is a pretty cool dive bomber aircraft, another twin-engine aircraft. We have quite a bit of those in recent times for the Soviet Union, but really cool. Love the color scheme on it, nice brown and black color scheme on it, a little bit more unique. This is available as a tutorial on the channel, so definitely feel free to check it out if you're interested in it. The next build we have is actually really recent, just built this the other day, but this right here is the BE-6, which is a giant seaplane, basically huge, a really big seaplane. We have the two main engines on the top, some really interesting wings. They were very difficult wing to kind of get right, as the sloping on them is really interesting and just makes them kind of difficult all the way around. But really nice build. I think it came out really good and will make a cool addition to the Soviet Union, as I think this is actually our first Soviet seaplane. So pretty cool to see. And of course we have it in its updated water plot here, as we'll be doing with landed versions of the seaplanes, just to kind of, again, make them seem more like seaplanes. So really cool stuff there for the BE-6, and with that we'll move back to Germany. The only addition to our German lineup was the V1.2 which is a pretty cool high altitude interceptor aircraft. Very weird and kind of unique aircraft, really large wingspan for its size and just a really slender kind of body. Pretty cool looking plane, and again just kind of an experimental plane from Germany at the time. Never really entered full-scale production, but really cool nonetheless, and that is going to do it for Germany. Moving to our Italian section, we have a couple additions. It's been a very long time since we visited Italy, but right here we have the first one, which is the Caprini M1, which was their kind of first jet aircraft that the Italians actually created themselves. So pretty interesting design. It's really large and just kind of a weird design overall, but kind of something unique and I guess cool build to have on the world for sure. The next one we have is the SM-92, which is again a heavy fighter, very slim heavy fighter, and a unique design where one side of the twin boom setup is actually the cockpit, and the other side's just an engine, this giant engine nacelle. Really interesting design, super kind of unique and weird, and cool to have for our Italian lineup. So a couple unique planes here for the Italian World War II section. Let's go ahead and move on back to Japan. And moving back to Japan, we have the R2Y. This is a really interesting aircraft. Was designed to basically be a reconnaissance aircraft for the Japanese military. Though obviously due to the end of the war and I believe the facilities this aircraft was being assembled at actually bombed. It never really went into full-scale production besides the few prototypes. Pretty cool looking airplane, and definitely a very kind of weird and unique one. It's kind of derpy looking to say the very least, but cool aircraft, and that is going to do it for our World War II aircraft, and we're going to go ahead and move on over to our Modern Warfare ones. So of course leading the charge here is the United States Cold War Modern Warfare aircraft section. We have a couple of new additions for that. Obviously the first one here being the XF-108 Rapier, which was again kind of an experimental aircraft around the time of the XB-70 Valkyrie. Pretty cool looking design. Again designed I believe as a high altitude kind of interceptor, so a bomber interceptor. Really cool design. We got the red on there, just kind of the test markings and all that stuff. But had a fun time with this build. Kind of actually had a little bit of challenging points of it here and there, but I think it came out really good, and it's a really cool aircraft from that Cold War era. We have another Cold War aircraft that's been added, and this here is the R3Y1 Tradewind, which was designed to basically, at the early stage of the Cold War, which was designed basically as a transport flying boat. The original versions also had a opening nose that could open up to allow the movement of troops and cargo out if it pulled up to a beach. This version here is designed kind of more as solely a transport aircraft, maritime patrol, whatever type of seaplane, where it does not have the opening front. But really cool aircraft, very large and very interesting for what it is, and we obviously have a view of it out of water up here. Really interesting shapes on it, and I think it came out pretty good for the most part. Really do like this aircraft, pretty satisfied with it, and it's a really cool Cold War aircraft. You don't really see too many seaplane Cold War era aircraft, so definitely cool to see this addition in our world. With that though, let's go ahead and drop back to the Soviet Union and Russia. So moving into our Soviet/Russian line, we have some really cool additions to the lineup as well. First one here being the Tu-28 Fiddler, which was designed to be basically a interceptor, so a bomber interceptor for the most part. As your obviously you're intercepting missiles here, pretty large aircraft. Again, basically just an interceptor. And I think at the time of its creation, it was basically one of the heaviest interceptors that would have been out there. But yeah, really cool aircraft, and again, that just kind of peak Cold War Soviet design. Next aircraft we have here is actually probably a pretty interesting one this year, is the Mil Mi-24A Hind. So this is the first production version of the Hind. As you can see, it's pretty different, mainly in the front here, where your cockpit's kind of a larger space rather than being that kind of two bubble canopies there. So it's just kind of one large cockpit. The guns mounted differently. It's a pretty weird design, but honestly, I kind of like it. And we have the color scheme here, tan and green. I think it came out really good and is an awesome looking design. I'm looking forward to also going back and redoing my normal Hind with the new body shape and all that stuff, because I think it's a really nice design. It looks a lot better than the old outdated model. So hopefully we'll see a tutorial for that soon. Then right next to it, we have the Ka-50 Black Shark. This here is basically the single seat version of the Ka-52. So kind of the predecessor. Obviously we have it here in the black color scheme as well. Looks pretty awesome, and again, very similar to that of the Ka-52 if you built it, just a little bit slimmer in the front, and pretty much most of the tail and most of the rear of the aircraft is the same. So cool looking build, and some really nice additions here to our Soviet/Russian lineup. Our next aircraft here is actually going to be the introduction of a brand new nation to our Modern Warfare/Cold War aircraft, and this here is for Canada, surprisingly enough, and we have the CF-105 Arrow, which was basically a interceptor type design that was actually created and led by Canada. Obviously, it never went into full-scale production, but still a really cool aircraft nonetheless. And honestly, I was kind of surprised when I found out Canada was actually creating some of its own aircraft. So really cool stuff. This here can be found also in the United Kingdom line, so it is mixed in with some of their aircraft as that we have previously built. But yeah, really cool looking aircraft. Came out really nice, some good shaping on it, and again, just really nice kind of peak Cold War type design. We have a lot of Cold War interceptors in this update, so some pretty cool stuff all together. But yeah, that right there is it for the CF-105 Arrow. Next up, we have a new addition to the German aircraft line, and this here is the Eurofighter Typhoon. We had a lot of requests for a very long time to build the Eurofighter, and I finally got around to doing it. Came out really, really good. A lot of really good design for it. Lots of good armament on it, and just a overall really nice look to it. So really happy the way it came out. It is available as a tutorial on the channel, so if you're interested in that, definitely feel free to check it out. We also have an addition to France, and France has this really weird aircraft, the Nord 1500-02 Griffin II. Pretty weird looking aircraft. Again, a experimental interceptor from that Cold War period. Had a really big intake on the bottom, massive jet engine on the back. Just overall a really odd looking aircraft, but pretty cool nonetheless. We don't really get too many French aircraft, so always nice to welcome a new one in our lineup, regardless of it being a mainline production fighter or just a experimental design like this one is here. With that though, let's move on back to China. China also has a new aircraft, the J-20A, which is one of their main kind of production fighters now that's being put into service. It is designed to be a stealth air superiority fighter, very reminiscent of that of like an F-22 and F-35. Obviously the Chinese like their knockoffs, but it's a pretty cool looking aircraft, really nice, and we finally get kind of a cool aircraft that we can put into like a scene as competitor with like my F-35s or F-22s or something like that. So pretty cool design, and again up as a tutorial on the channel. We also have a couple new Swedish aircraft added in, the first one here being the Saab 21R, just a fighter attack aircraft, again kind of a early Cold War type design. It's got a jet engine here. I believe there was also a variant that had a turboprop engine on the back. So pretty cool looking little fighter here. We then have a actual trainer from Sweden, and this here's the Saab 105. also known as the SK-60B. Again, really cool looking aircraft here, and this is the trainer that I believe they still currently use. So really cool nonetheless. Really happy the way this one came out, especially that gray and green camouflage. But yeah, some cool additions to the Swedish line, and I did forget to mention that our German Eurofighter over there is also in the Swedish line. So if you are wondering where that is, you can find it obviously in this section here. Anyways, though, that is going to do it for our small scale aircraft, and yes, I did say small scale. We do actually have a new aircraft added into our oversized lineup, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So in our oversized section, we have another US aircraft, and this here has been the off and on requested XB-70. Thing is an absolute unit. It's absolutely huge. Really big aircraft. It's pretty simplistic, honestly, when you really break it down, but yeah, an absolute gigantic aircraft here. And again, this is kind of was a experimental aircraft designed to basically be a bomber during the Cold War. Really cool aircraft, and one of the definitely more unique ones we now have on our model world. But again, we have the in-flight and landed version, and hopefully we'll be seeing a tutorial hopefully sometime soon for it. But yeah, really cool looking aircraft, and happy to finally have it built and on the world, just awaiting a tutorial. Alright guys, so moving into our World War II and World War I BAFTA builds, we have a new addition here in American line. This is the USS Ticonderoga, part of the Essex class of carriers. Really cool ship. It came out really awesome, and a really good kind of follow-up to the USS Lexington, which is also an Essex class, but the more modernized version. Really cool design for this carrier. Really do like it, and if you are looking for a kind of pinnacle American fleet carrier, this is definitely the one for you. So it would make an awesome addition to any of your Pacific fleets. But yeah, really cool looking build, and with that, we're going to go ahead and jump on back to Italy. Moving into our Italian World War I and World War II section, we have the RN Giulio Caesar, part of the Giulia de Cavar class of battleship. Really cool looking ship. Came out good. Of course, we have the candy cane striping there on the front, and all that. Just a pretty simple, straightforward battleship, but a cool one nonetheless to add to our World War II Italy section, as we really only have two ships as of the previous update, both kind of which are outdated. But yeah, really cool ship. Hopefully we'll see it as a tutorial soon. We then have the RN Aquila, which is part of the Aquila class of carriers that was being built during World War II. Then with the surrender of Italy, it kind of just laid in scrap until it was scrapped sometime late during World War or late after World War II. But pretty cool ship. This is kind of what would have been based off concepts and stuff like that of a Italian carrier. So really cool design for it. Love the way it came out. Lots of good detail in it. Lots of good stuff all the way around. So should be a pretty cool build if when it does come out, if you are looking to kind of expand upon the Italian Navy. Then the next ship we have here is the RN Trento, part of the Trento class of heavy cruiser, if I recall. So we have another heavy cruiser to add to our Italian section. Really nice ship, one of the more modern ships of the Italian Navy during World War II, and overall just a really cool design for it. So really happy with the way these ships all came out, and hopefully again we'll see these all pretty soon as tutorials. In our French section we have the Le Glaisonnier, part of the Le Glaisonnier class of light cruisers. Pretty cool, or just cruisers, I guess it doesn't have an exact specification, but yeah, pretty cool ship. Another ship added to our French Navy, which again is pretty sad at this point in time, but hopefully we'll see some more expansion upon it in the future. But yeah, really cool, kind of simplistic ship, again available as a tutorial on the channel. Our Japanese section has also seen a couple big updates, the first one being here the IJN Taiho, part of the Taiho class of aircraft carriers, one of the more modern fleet carriers for the Japanese Navy, but came out really good. Really cool design for it. Overall, really happy with the carrier. We have a lot of carriers in this update as well, but yeah, again, really happy with the way it came out. I think it's a gorgeous ship, and again, it's going to make an awesome addition to our Japanese lineup, which we have so many carriers so far in the Japanese lineup. So definitely really cool to see, and our Imperial Japanese Navy continues to really impress and kind of be our most powerful line, I would say. Then our next ship here we have a pretty cool one. This is a pre-World War One kind of dreadnought ship called the IJN Mikasa. IJN Mikasa is kind of cool because she's the only actual preserved dreadnought from basically pre-World War II, or pre-dreadnought I should say, and the only dreadnought that was actually built by the United Kingdom still around today. So also kind of crazy to think that a Japanese dreadnought is the last surviving example of a British built pre-dreadnought. So pretty cool stuff. Again, this is kind of a museum ship currently, but this is color schemed based off of how it would actually appear when it was in service. So pretty cool ship, and a cool one at that if you want to build those really cool kind of early 1900s type ships. That's it for our World War I and World War II section. Let's go ahead and move on to our modern section. For our American section here, we have the USS Ingersoll, Spruance class cruiser. Really cool looking ship, and again a Cold War era cruiser just added to our United States Navy section. So very happy to have that. Obviously, expand upon that Cold War. U.S. Navy's definitely not going to hurt us in any way, shape, or form. So really cool ship to have added in, but pretty simple nonetheless. And really, we only have 3 more builds, and this series are all going to be in the Soviet Union and Russia. So let's go ahead and fly back to them. And moving into our Soviet Union and Russia section, we have quite a few cool ships here. First one here is going to be the Admiral Falcon, part of the Kinta class of destroyers, I believe, or no, cruisers actually. This is available as a tutorial on the channel, but just again a really cool Cold War Soviet ship. And again, the Soviet and Russian ships during the Cold War were just so sick, just so much cooler than the American counterparts. Really love their ships, honestly. Then the next ship we have here is a really cool one. This is Project 23,000E Shotom, which was basically a concept for a mega fleet carrier for the Russian/Soviet Navy. Absolute massive carrier, as you can see. Kind of puts the Chodar forward to shame, and any American carrier really to just minuscule amounts. Got a twin island setup here, plenty of elevators, 3 on this side, just 1 over here on this side, but an absolute massive behemoth of a ship. Really cool. Love the nice deck detailing and all that stuff, and overall I think this is a really cool looking carrier, and I'm happy to hopefully get this out as a tutorial hopefully sometime soon. But yeah, an absolute massive ship. As you can see, it really dwarfs everything around it. So that's it for that one. And then the next ship we have here is going to be the Yankee 2 class ballistic missile submarine. So really nothing too crazy about this one, just another Russian nuclear submarine. We have quite a few in our lineup, and just continuing to expand upon it. Pretty much I feel like every update we're adding at least a couple subs, so obviously really cool to see another one added into our lineup. But that right there is going to complete everything we have for our modern and Cold War section of BAFTA builds. And with that, guys, that's going to conclude this video for the Model World Update 1.2. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the world and are able to explore it and enjoy it just as much as I have enjoyed making all these vehicles on here. There's plenty more to see. Obviously, those are just the vehicles that have been added in this update. Everything else that has been on the world before is still there, so definitely a whole lot of vehicles, and definitely hours of fun just kind of walking around and looking at all the stuff that has been built in this world. So highly recommend downloading it if you are able to. Again, this is going to be mainly only for Java players. I'm not familiar with any way to get it on console, so unfortunately for my console players, you will not be able to take a look at this. But again, PC players, you can definitely enjoy it and have some fun on it. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you do end up using any of the designs on here, whether they be tutorial or not, I do ask that you guys give me credit for it. Again, that can be a sign on the build, a link to my channel, or whatever. Just as long as you guys give me credit for it, that's all I ask, and it helps support me and keep this channel growing and all that stuff. So thank you guys again so much for all the continued support and everything like that, and I do hope you guys enjoy another download of the Model World. Definitely let me know down in the comments below what was your favorite build that was added in, whether it was tutorial so far or not. A lot of good ones, really difficult to kind of choose between them, but I think personally I really do like the construction vehicles. I had a lot of fun building those, and it was something kind of new, change of pace, so it was kind of a lot of fun. Really do like the way they came out, so I'm excited to see those coming out as tutorials over the next few months. Anyways, though, with that, thank you guys again so much for watching. This has been Garrett 2x4, and I'll see you guys next time.